Welcome everybody to a Psychic Affair. Today we're doing 3-card draws. Now I did write down tarot, but I'm going to use crystal ally cards because we're looking at core issues. This isn't necessarily core healing, but if you've got an area of your life, it could be love, it could be career, it could be something else, it could be a particular relationship or relationships in general, that you have a consistent issue with, or if anger issues, if you get overly emotional and it's not menopause. Let's face it, it's a big deal for most of us, and in any age group over 45, it plays a role. So what we're looking at is if you've got an issue that is repetitive for you, it can be generalized. We're good with that too. The card layout that we're doing will show exactly what's going on. What's at the core of that? What's causing that? And what can we do about it? Now, I've got the 2 readings that I'm going forward with, but after that, if you want a reading, just as I get to the end of one, just say me, please. If you all do that at once, it's going to be a bit of a problem. But you could always go, I suppose, to the private message and just put me, please, and then of course they'll all sit there and I can work my way through them. So let's get started for Julie. Julie may or may not be here. It's a weird day for her in New Zealand. Whoopsie, get back over here. Oopsie. I'm going to lay out for her shuffle. I need a shuffle. Hang on, let me find my shuffle. Shuffle. Here we go. And boom. I just want to bring those back here, but they're not coming. Oh, there we are. Back they come. Now we've done that, I will do my layout, threads, 3 cards, and let's see how we go with that. And this is for Julie. Bang. Woo! Look at that. Why are they over there? We don't know. Move them over here. Can you see those nice and clear, folks? There we go. Put that back there. Awesome. And so now let's have a look at our cards. What do we think of this? Oh my God. Dorothy's got a new toy. And I can put all cards into here. I can put my cards in. I can put any card in. It just rocks, baby. All right. So for you, Julie, we've got initiation, we've got peace, light, and we've got female power. So what we're looking at is 3 very big cards. Now, Manifest Light is the middle card, and I'm going to read all of these. At the middle card is essentially the transformative card, the pivotal card, or the card of importance, if you like. So with the Manifest Light, you're challenged to bring ideas to earth, and really it is that your world, your life, your environment is a reflection of what you put out into it, not what you pray for, not what you wish for, not what you hope for. Look, my arms are flaying and you can't see it. I tried to do a PNP, but it just kept going ridiculous. So I did that you just look at the cards anyway. And if they're too small, let me know, because I think I can better those clues, because those clues have got nothing to do with these cards. All that I'm doing is a layout. But as I go forward, as this is working, I'm going to be buying this and I'll be getting all of the tools that go with it. So I'm really liking it a lot. I do use it for Skype readings because it's easy to share a screen on Skype. But I'm so glad it's here because just a little blur, a little small. Let me see what I can do about that. Oh, we need to turn it back over. I have to do that at another thing. But you know you've got, do you still have the, call it the slider to make your image bigger? I'm not sure if you have that or not on video, to be honest. If you do, there you go. I do have a couple of little incidences here, but overall, I don't want to play too much during the night. I don't want to make you all wait. I know there's a way to manage the cards, but I'm just not sure how to do that right now. Hang on a minute. I think I might have been able to click it, but then it's only one at a time. Yeah, it won't do it right now. So I will check in on that and see if I can make them a bit bigger. These cards, incidentally, I scanned these in. I put these cards into my computer, my first computer, so many years ago, that they actually are a little bit blurry anyway, so I'm not 100% sure if it'll be that. But next time we do cards, which will be the very next Psychic Affair, I'll use a different deck each time. And I'm going to load one deck in. I'm going to load my own. I've already got the Witches cards in. So it's exciting stuff for me. And I can do full card spreads. I can create my own spreads, and we can do 1 card draws. You can have a bit of fun with that over a couple of months. And all get to know the program nicely. So back to Julie, manifest. it's not just about, putting your ideas out there and then hoping that this will come true for you and manifest on it. But it's about seeing what you want for yourself, seeing what you want for your life, and ensuring that what your actions are reflects exactly what it is that you're looking for. Manifest life is that you become a light on earth, become the light of your own creations. So it's a very interesting card. Initiation means that you will be new experiences. You will need to make some choices that are something a little different from what you have done in the past. Not necessarily a different choice that you're being offered. You're being asked to make a different choice. Say, if you've been asked or looked at repeatedly the question of changing job or moving or a relationship, whatever that might be in your life, whatever comes, every time it's back at you at the moment, you're offered a chance to do something different, which creates in you a new level of confidence, a new ability. So these are the things that are the core of what's going on for you at the moment. And that can be quite a crunchy energy to step out of it. So, and make a choice that's completely different to the way you've chosen before. The female power, Capricorn is so earthy and it's so strong and it's so pushy that I just think it's the most amazing energy. So while we've got this in as a core energy, it may be too that you need to bring forward your feminine intuitions, your understanding, but the basic stuff. Now, we tend to think of intuition and feminine energies as something that's like Mary. It's really not. Women are the most down-to-earth practical creatures, beyond the men's practicality, because our practicality includes our body, includes the way we manifest literally physical life on earth. We nurture physical life on earth. It's what women do, but it's a very hot, earthy energy. So these are the core issue, and as the core issue, it suggests to me that you may not have transformed the way you make choices. You may be offered a choice again and again and again, and you may not be quite happy with your life the way it is. You have not necessarily changed the way you make that choice. You may just slip each time to what you've always done, and then you end up you've always got. And so being asked to do that differently, or you're not being asked to do it differently. That's wrong for this type of thing. Really what it's saying is that's why you are where you are. Feminine energies, when you know, act on it. It's exactly what they're about. You know you have to feed yourself. When you know you need something different in life, go get that. Do what you can to achieve that. So that's for you. Now, I've got a little gathering here. I gather my cards, bring them back. We look at shuffle again, and I'm going to do Edis. She's can't be with us today. She's got an appointment, and I'd offered her that she could shuffle in again. Stop. No fault. Get those going. And we go to my spreads, and 3 card spread. Dun, 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 for Edis. Boom. I don't know why they're putting themselves all the way over here. It could be because there's no good reason that I can think of. A little wee glitch in the programming. But we got it all back, and here we go. So Edis, she specifically, oh, look at that. We've got that again. She specifically said, don't give me any bad news. And so I'll tell you what, it's not how it works. You can't say beforehand, yeah, I want it if it's good, and I don't want it if it's going to be bad. It is what it is. Bearing in mind it's a core issue. It's not a future reading. This is a core issue. We are where we are in life, not necessarily in every aspect of our life, but without a question, without an area, not so much a question, but an area of difficulty or an area that concerns us, then you're going to need to decide for yourself where to apply it. There's the female power against upright, which you've already just heard the description of, and that's the same regardless of where we play. We've got this solution you've allowed others to make decisions for you, or you've allowed yourself to be led by the advice of others that may not have always been good. There's not a thing I can do about it, I'm afraid, because I can't call in. So live on. So breaking up is the way it's going to be. The leadership energy as a core issue does mean that you may wait for things to happen, you may things to come about. You may wait. I'm pretty lucky that I've been cutting trees down. This is the quietest it's been all day. And since I'm like, it's not picking up my headset either, I have to go in and restart, and I can do that because I've already set this up. So leadership is about knowing what's best for all involved, not what's for partners, not what's best for children, not what's best for everybody else, making them feel good. But it's important to understand that leadership is about the best decision for everybody, which includes yourself. It must include yourself. It means taking the first step where others may be afraid to. And so as a core issue, as a core energy, it's an energy that suggesting things off isn't really the way to go. Everybody else makes the decision or waiting for them to make the decision and hoping they make the right decision. It's not leadership. The path of service is an interesting one because this one is a core issue I find interesting with spiritual people. Most that read this card read it so incorrectly, I'm always astounded. The path of service is not about going out there and slaving yourself to the world, to others, to spirituality, to guides, channels. What the path of service is that when you're doing what is best for humanity, you are doing what is best for you. And to understand that while you are receiving something from that, it's a path of service that others are benefiting from. There's that old saying, a happy mother is a happy family. It's that energy path of service. It's understanding that if you make the choices for the highest good, including yourself and of everybody. Now, that aligned with the leadership card suggests too that maybe sometimes when you make your decisions, they are based on external factors rather than what you know is best. And you may sometimes err on the side of making choices that are, or decisions that are based on what's easiest or what seems to, ruffle the least, that kind of thing. So you're being asked to look at that as a core issue for the way things go for you. Maybe letting things run too long before you start to rectify them and sort them, even though you know in yourself that these aren't right. Again, we come back to that intuitive energy, that feminine energy. When we know it's not right, it's not right. And that's the time to do something with it. So there we go. That's absolutely wonderful. Now, I've got Mags coming on up. Now, I'd like to, I'm just going to go get my cards. I'm not quite clear because I have this in such rapid style. Anybody that wants a reading, you can just pop it into pen because we've got a tiny little chat, so it's got 3 lines on it and they disappear pretty quickly. So you can go into my private. If you look at options, you'll see my name. Click on it, just click yes please. It'll be a nice bright little orange thing there so that I know that you would like a reading. We're doing core issues. So what that means is you can ask for a particular area that's causing you problems in general. And the core issue will be the cards that come out. That's why you've got this issue. This is why you've got the thing that's going on. But you can just say yes, please, and get a general, and then you will need to decide where to apply that in your life. Now, it might be all of your life experiences at the moment, but it may only be one area, and you will need to determine that for yourself. So here we go. We're going to do We're going to do my spreads. I'm going to get so efficient at this that it'll be just smooth as, here we go, move them back on here. And there we go. There's only Mags here right now. If anybody else wants a reading, you better chuck your name in the queue. And doing it through the private message just means I can't miss it and I can't lose it. It comes up as a little orange thingy there. Now we've got joy and gratitude, we've got healing, and we've got forgiveness for you there. Next, I'll put it closer in there, and I'll get rid of those little things too, because I did see that there was a way, but some of the features aren't there until I've paid it. Well, after today, and it looks pretty good, I'm paying for this puppy. I'm really happy with it, and that I can add my own decks is beyond a dream. And when my own personal deck comes online, my new Oracle card deck, it'll be in here. So here we've got, as a core issue, healing is required. There's a level of healing. That means, and because of got forgiveness there, you may need to forgive yourself or somebody else in the past. And because we've got those 2 cards in the words joy and gratitude to throw in there, tonight are beautiful crystals, by the way. Lovely, lovely energy. Because we've got those in here, there may be a sensitivity that you have, something that it's like a little soft spot that every time it gets touched you may overreact, because that's the feeling I get around when they're placed together. There's that whole feeling that, something needs to be healed from that, whether it's something that you felt was critical of yourself, whether it's an abusive tendency that somebody had towards you, or whether it was something that they did so regularly they didn't even realize doing it, that kind of energy, you know, can happen. And that reminds me of my niece, you know, my brother-in-law, when she was little, used to tease her, and he'd always tease her about her ears now. And he thought it was funny. When she was little, he laughed. None of us thought anything, but as soon as she turned 21, she was saving her money like crazy, and she got her ears pinned back. And we were all horrified because it was unintentional. On Dave's part as well, it was unintentional. I know he felt terrible about that, and her ears really didn't stick out totally. So it's an interesting thing. So healing into without knowing exactly where it is, including the word forgiveness. Dioptase is a great crystal for doing that, where you just imagine the dioptase, hold the card if you hold the crystal, if you've got over your different chakras, or ask if you need to hold it over and sit quietly and allow yourself to know what it is that you need to be resolving if you can't pull it out of your subconscious. The joy and gratitude, you know, quite often I draw this for people, especially spiritual people, they lash right back as if I've insulted you. I drew the card for you, I didn't make it up. But very often that comes, you know, I have a lot of gratitude, I have a lot of joy. Just that kind of a lashback suggests that maybe not. And so we need to start asking that question of joy and gratitude. Do you find that you struggle to enjoy even the really good things, you know, or do you find that you feel like something is deserved? It's interesting because, for example, if there's something to forgive, when a person says sorry, often the response they get is too little too late, or you're not sorry enough. So can we accept an apology? Can we forgive a person and make a sincere apologize? And it's a very good question, and it's something that I've put out there quite a lot. Sorry about that. Thank you, Gigi. It's a bit of a challenge, but sort of turning my whole computer off, turning it back on, and sussing out space, which I really don't want to do. We have to live with it today. And last week, when we were doing altered state, I was clear as a bird on the same thing. So anyway, carrying right along. That's what we're looking at the court anyway, is that essentially the pivot is on the healing. Fluorides are really, it's not cleansing, you know, it's an interesting crystal because it's not cleansing. What it is like is, imagine that you've got a tap at the top of the head, and there's a hole there, like a drain, and that it's like a cool air goes around and around and it grooves through every part of your body. I'm going to sneeze, and normally when I'm going to sneeze, I just hit the mute button. Sorry. Now I can't. Sorry about that. Goes around and around and around, and it involves thank you, Nick. It involves every part of your body. And so it's a really nice energy, because the way that is, it's not so much that it's a release as such, but you have a sudden thought. So you get around to your shoulder, and it's around to your shoulder, you have a sudden thought of an argument you'd had with somebody 20 years ago or 3 days ago, and you realise that that's being held in your body. Because it's in the shoulder, it may feel responsible for something, if that makes sense. If it gets down to your knee, you should probably do this in a class one day. We work our way through the body parts and what that comes up for you in that situation, and then you can apply it to that area of the body. It's body healing in its best possible form, which is my favourite thing. Go get the book, Body Centered Healing by Dorothy-holder. It's that identification, that recognition. Now, once you've brought it into your consciousness, you're in a position where you can then, once you've brought it into consciousness, you're in a position when you can deal with it. You can look and go, I don't know. For some people, don't even know what's in there. There's a manual that I've started for recognition along these lines, and part of that is to sit down with the things that annoy you during the day, the things that you enjoyed during the day. You do that every day for a while, and you notice after a month or so of doing that every day that you go from writing really surface stuff to actually going, you know, it pissed me off. I really didn't like this stuff. And then you start developing that, and you go to the stage where you ask yourself, well, actually, have I ever really liked that person? Have I just put up with their bigotry or whatever it is that annoyed you that day? Or is it that that's something it's pushing your buttons because you joined in with that, you know. I'm a stickler for not joining anything misogynist, anything racist, anything bigoted in any way, shape, or form. And so I just stand there and have the argument and tell somebody to go away and get out of my river, then go along with it. But if you're ever in a, you do go along with it because there's a lot of people or you feel it's right, it doesn't always sit well. And so if you're in a public arena and you don't want to, you know, rock the boat, so to speak, you just walk away and you'll hold that breath for a while because it goes into your own personal values. Now, I've got nobody lined up for a reading right there, so if anybody wants to do that, you better get your A into G, or I'm going to just call it an early night. Quite happily. My new toy works. Yay! That's all I need to know tonight. It works. So, we've got one. Good on you. Thank you. Done. Okay, we've got G. We're going to shuffle this deck. We're going to go boom, 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 boom. Gather our cards. It's all in the, you're very welcome. Always a pleasure. 3 card spread. And this is for Gigi. Boom. Oh, you know what's on my mind when I'm shuffling? All I do is your name is going again and again and again through my mind. Because that's how we keep it focused on the right person. It's not about me. It's only about you. Let's have a look at what we've got going on here. I like it too. I think it's great. It's because it saves, this sounds lazy, I suppose, but it saves me some time because normally I go and shuffle the cards physically. Then I've got them on my computer and I have to make up these slides. As you've all seen it, at the moment you don't see shuffle. Do you know what I mean? It's so clean and it saves me all of that prep work, but it really looks kind of nice. So I work out those tiny little bugs that have got that slightly blurry. Next, in a fortnight, when I do this again, I will just do general readings, I suppose. I'll decide what type of readings we're going to do. I actually would like to spell readings. Does everybody like that idea where we create a spell for you from the cards that we draw for the next week or the next month for a particular situation for love? Okay, well, that'll work. I've got my other deck in here, and so we'll see for sure after I've had a week play whether it's just this deck is a little blurry. Done. That's done. That's what we're doing in 2 times because we've got altered states next week. And next week we're doing past lives, by the way, on altered states with Kathy. I'm so happy. It's like all week I've been playing with it, and I've done a little wee test shows with it. Just it looked all right to me. I needed to know if it looks all good for you guys as well. And then once the Skype call is working and my voice is clear, we're all great. And that's not this. That's just making up the Skype since I've got the new Skype now. It's not picking up mic today. Blah blah. For whatever reason, it comes in, but it's not picking up my saying I haven't got one. I'm like, yes, I have. So, divine, we've got divine connection. Now, this is the card in the set. I don't know if you've heard the story before. I know. It's like, oh my gosh. And it's such a, this is the big one. It'll sort itself out. Skype 99% of the time is okay, but this is just ridiculous. I have to, if I make a call, I have to reboot my computer before I make the next call. It just loses all it loses its stuff. It loses its shit, man. It just goes, what speaker? What microphone? No, it doesn't happen. What do you mean you listen to this call? No, I'm going to let you look at it ringing and you can push the button you like and we're not answering. That's exactly what's doing to me. So it's every time a winner is something different. So divine connections, this particular card, if you have a look, can you see my card? If you have a look, you'll see that there's this body up here and it's a little small, but go and look for this. There's actually a head sticking up with a crystal at it. When I first bought this deck, and I really needed to buy this deck, and I've loved it ever since, mainly I've used it for personal use or I've used it for energy work. This is a powerful deck that I use for chakra work, for chakra development. And so we draw a card for each chakra and then on that vibrational frequency to that chakra. It's manipulative. It's very powerful too, by the way. Anybody that has that done is all very trusty last for a wee while. But it's exciting stuff. There's a little face just sticking out. And as soon as I saw it, I just knew it was like a little shock. It was Nathaniel, the owner I worked with right at the outset of all of this, this whole journey for me. So divine connection, you know, first we've got evolution is the pivotal part, it's the central part, it's the core of the core, and we've got joy and gratitude. Now, because we've got right, which is that transformation. Transformation can be tricky because it can be the word painful isn't right, but cringy is a really good energy to put in there. The pain is already there. Let's put it that way. If we've got a pain in our life, that's there regardless of whether we choose to evolve or if we don't. I'll get that Skype working, Chris, and then hopefully everything will be firing properly again. In the meantime, woohoo, my toy works. you see where my focus is. It's all working. Evolution. So with that, it's a transformative energy, but not tend to think of transformation. It's evolving through knowledge. Evolution is a mandatory action. That is, we can spontaneously evolve our body to help. It's possible. Not many people do it. Some people do it. Some people do it without even about spirituality or anything, because the basic understanding is cellular. We can do it with our minds. We can move our minds literally from one space, whether that's depressed or anxious, to another space, simply because we want to. And so the evolutionary stick, or that moment there, it's the following week after that. Not next week is altered states, and then tarot again week after that. The herb, sorry, you have a look at this picture, it's like wind. And so the whole point is of we go from a point of ignorance, if you like, that sitting figure where Thanksgiving. Sorry, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We don't do Thanksgiving, so I never think of it. So with that evolutionary, what we're looking at is we're looking at what we've learned, what we've been through life, and evolution is actually evidenced by not making those same mistakes again, and by reinforcing the good we've done. I've got hypnotherapy, you know, for golfers and sports people, horse riders, to improve their performance. And I don't think that you do that sort of stuff by looking at the future and what can be done and what the potential is. But actually, you look at the start, you look at the best pitch you did, the best drive, the best putt. You ingrain that. Because what we tend to focus on is our mistakes. And especially if we've made a few, it gets a little tricky. We start fearing making the same mistake, and that becomes the same mistake, and it inhibits evolution. It inhibits the level of change that we want for ourselves. So we are literally living a different life. Now, anybody who's transformed their life and gone from a real mucky origin to a really stable knows exactly what I mean and what I'm talking about with that. So this is an action based on what your body knows, your mind knows, what you remember. What you can remember of the best moments of your life will always make you feel joyous and happy for a minute. So every interesting thing, oh, well done. She's been making efforts to pay attention to that late. Actually, in this show, I don't need to read out the chat, because anybody that visits, that's a habit. Anybody that visits the recordings and the archives gets to see the chat as well. So I need to remember I don't have to do that. Now, the joy and the gratitude thing very often comes when there's resentments. This card, if you've had resentments from the past, if there are certain experiences you resent, it's difficult in spiritual service. Everybody says, oh, be happy for the crap you've been dealt, be happy for the hard, be happy for the grief. Bollocks to that, I say. You don't have to be happy for that, but you need to put it in its place to understand that it's not fun experiencing those things. And one of the ways we get through them to remember the happier things, the joyful things and the good things. Even if we've got stress on us, we need a balancing energy, or we just get overwhelmed by it. And the balancing energy is always going to be about things going right. When my mum died, we had an interesting moment. I flew over from Australia. It was a late flight, because they always are. And we ended up, Australia and New Zealand, what the hell, man? When we fly to Australia, we get the first gate. Honestly, we walk halfway to Australia before we hop on a plane. And vice versa, they drop you off and you've got a couple of Ks to walk back to it's all internal, it's all corridors and stuff. But when I sit there, I was thinking, they must save tons of fuel every year having to pick this up or in the main gates. It's the very last gate. Where's Australia? It's Australia. It's the closest country in the last gate. What the hell is that about? See, I struggle to have joy and gratitude about that. When my mum died, my daughter was only 3, a beautiful little puppet, she really was. And we were sitting there and we were standing there, my 3 and I, we were standing there and we were not, weeping, etc., but we were feeling our emotions a bit, talking about Mum. And we were in her little house, and Tanya, my daughter, she came in, she slipped on Mum's shoes and slopped the lounge in them. And she left us, and all 3 of us just went quiet. And I said to her, you better take Nana's shoes off, love. And she said, hi, Nana won't mind. And we 3 of us started laughing, and it was true. Nana really wouldn't mind. Even if she was alive, she wouldn't have minded. So it's the reality that offsets the moment. And that little laugh we had just lightened us all up, if that makes sense. And so we're looking for that with the joy and gratitude button. Well, we call it a button. We're looking for those moments that balance the other moments, and that's how I think is the most appropriate way to experience joy and gratitude. I banged my toe, but geez, I didn't break my arm. That kind of, it's an energy of balance. And so when it does indicate that maybe part of what's going on is not learning from one's mistakes in the past, or not learning that you've moved past even. Sometimes we move past an old energy and we still treat it like it's with us today, or we still feel guilt, whatever going on. It pulls us back. It stops us from being able to quite literally die. Core energy, I would say here, you need to connect to your own inner self, it's not so much the intuition or the guidance. What do you know? What you know about yourself as a person. For example, if you know that you're a good person, and somebody says you're a bitch, you know you're a good person. You've got 2 ways to respond to that. Your heart could rip, or belly tight, and you could feel awful for a couple of days, and even ask yourself, maybe I just tell yourself, yeah, that's me, I'm just. Or you can go the other way, and you can sit there and you can go, I've been a bitch. I can be a bitch, but I am not a bitch. You follow? Balance. All balance. And then gratitude is affirming and being able to reaffirm what you know to be true about yourself. Divine. You are not the person that other people say you are simply because they're not with you for a wee while. I don't even think they have to say that, to be honest. Whether it's to your face or behind your back, anybody that calls that they personally insult you so that they feel better is in trouble. They're in trouble themselves. Now, Gigi, just reading I've got, if anybody else wants to go, you need to put it out there, because I'm not going. I can't see who's here. I've got a weird configuration that I'm looking at so that I can keep the screen up there nicely. I want to know that it's there. But I hope Gigi, gather my cards, gathering cards. Here we go. You're so welcome. Core issue is the center of a problem. That means that this is the basic energy that prevents something else. When I do core issue hypnotherapy work, when I do core issue energy work, it's really deep stuff that we're looking at. So it's not a surface thing. And because it's a core issue, by being able to consciously recognize it, consciously look at it, you can consciously change what really isn't a huge thing, and then transform everything beyond it, changing everything beyond it. What about you, Deb? Deb, do you want anything? I'm going to start calling you out. So you just hit the PM button, or the options button. Well, that's great then, because it's well in time if that's what you've been working on. Do understand when it comes to healing work, when it comes to energy work, I've got a really strong belief, I've been doing this for a really long time now, that you should not be healing something for 10 years, 5 years, not even 3 years, not the same thing. You can transform basic thing, which sometimes opens up other things, but you should do a whole lot and be able to see how you've come. Oh, good. Just realised. Oh no, that wasn't for you. That was in general. Sorry, I should have been clearer about that. The whole, even when you just start something, it's something that I call a bit of a spiritual trap, that you see people in readings and give energy to people who say to me, I've been working on this for years, or I just can't release that guy or that thing or the other thing. And when you ask them how long they've been at it, they'll say they've been at it for years. Then they're not healing. What they're doing is they're focusing on something that's an issue, and they're missing what the core issue is, what's underneath it all, what's causing it. You can go into a very protracted layering out of everything. You know, you can go into this protracted, this is how it was when I was starting out. Everybody talked about relieving layers. You don't need to do that. All you need to do is cut. And so treat it like the undo button. In fact, that's something that annoys me. Yeah. You used to be able to undo things where you could go step by step and undo each individual problem. On most computer programs, you could each individual problem and you can go back one by one. And sometimes if you only made one or two mistakes, that was valuable. You know, you could do that. Now, there's no step by step. You just go undo and it'll go back maybe 4 or 5 steps and then you're done. It won't go any further. It won't go past your last save and so on and so on. You can't just sort of reset everything because it used to have this undo all at the bottom, and you could go through without doing 5 or 10 steps, you know, sometimes 15. So this is about that. It's about getting to the undo button of something very basic. And usually when you're in that core energy, it's not actually a big deal. It's just the hardest thing to see. It's really just that. It's the hardest thing to see. And it's covered by what we expect, what other people have said to us. I read a study. Clearly nobody's going to go for another. So what we do there is we stop doing that because we've got a bit more time. We've got 20 minutes, so we'll just chat our way through that. Does anybody else want to PM me and ask for a reading? I'm going to give you another 2 minutes to do that, and then I'll take that out and go straight to my own video. There's this wonderful thing around looking at personal healing and moving into a space. Well, the card screen is up. It's just there's no cards there. Nothing's changed. It's just we're lucky for now. We're just lucky for the minute. That's all. It comes and it goes. So anyway, it is what it is because I'm direct connected, which, you know, my connection's that little bit slower. So it's sort of like I'm on this wave and sometimes I'm riding it and next minute, you know, I just get dunked. I think probably just luck, pure and simple luck. There's this whole wonderful energy around moving through your own past and knowing that you don't need to make a meal of it. You know, you don't need to explore every little inch. When you are looking at wanting to change something, just a simple hypnotherapy for the right reason can change everything that comes after it. So it's like an undo button where everything just sort of disappears into the back where it's supposed to be. And then you can focus forward, and then you can focus on your life where you are. There's this huge amount of energy around, let's have a look at this. Close that, yes. And what am I going to do now? I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go there, and there. Give me 2 seconds, and we should be good. Start sharing. And I don't know what that other is, but it'll do. We'll get rid of it. Get rid of it. There we go. How funny is that? So there's this whole energy around core issues. And when you're looking at core issues, the most obvious thing. The most obvious thing is, in actual fact, behaviours. It's the belief, the response, interactions. Those are the things we look at. Why core issues are hard to see is because they are ingrained. And so we don't see them as our own failing or our own negative. They want to tell somebody something, and it's like a brick wall. They don't see it, even though it's obvious to everybody else. For example, there's somebody who fights with everybody, finds himself falling out with people over the years, this person, that person, the next person, blah, 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 and they think everybody else's fault. Thank you. Hiya, Jen. They think it's everybody else's issue and not your own. So you're looking for common denominators. It's really, really difficult to see away. If you've got me on Facebook, I've opened a hypnotherapy and meditation group that you can go along to, and there's free hypnosis there. You can ask questions about meditation and so on and so on. So hop along near and heaven knows, I've got Google page. I've got my Google Play where I sell these things, but there's always a certain amount of freebies there. And if you want to develop and understand an article in there for self-hypnosis, how to start, it's a starter program. Even if you've been playing around with it, if you have a few issues with it, read it. We talk about blocking. Self-hypnosis is not about self-affirmation. It really isn't. When I see those two put together, no, they're not the same thing. One is talking yourself into something, and one is determining what you need to have happen, what the problem might be. Relaxing, people can do it actually, not properly, to go right on under and have that experience that's objective. If it's always not being objective. If you've got a core issue, if you've got something that keeps recurring in your life, you have a court to find that issue. If you can find what's going on, you can get to that, then everything else around it changes, and that is an ongoing thing. Like that bad boy, bad girl, or being attracted to the person who's not committed, that kind of stuff. Getting into a job and not being happy or not liking people, those kind of things, being by negative people, those are all in play with that kind of work. When you're looking at core issue, body healing, think about what I used to really like doing. I'm a bit more objective with myself these days, a bit more realistic than I was to start with, was using the tarot card deck. You can do it. Tarot card, obviously the crystal perfect for it, where you draw. I'll tell you why the crystal card is aligned with chakras. And so if you're going to draw for your heart chakra, you draw a card that is for your base chakra, that brings these two into alignment. When you work those two together, you've got the heart, you're dealing with the past. And coming from the heart isn't about compassion, by the way. It can be jealousy just as easy, but it's understanding that you're trying to come from a loving space, understand rather than blame, or even dislike yourself, what's that word? I can't remember. But it's that word determines that something inside you is at fault. When anybody's put on medication when they're young, they are being told by their parents and by the industry of there's something wrong when they come into their teenage years, or if they do that in their teenage years when they come in, it's very hard for them to find a point where they actually don't feel like there's something wrong with them. And yet nobody's actually, if they're a bad person, but they've treated them as if something's wrong with them. It becomes quite a deep, deep thing. So that is what we are looking for, looking at core issues. We have core healing on, I'll go and put that in the group if I haven't put it in there already, but if you are a member of the group that I said, scroll on down, because the articles at the top are not all that's there. You scroll down and there's, I think, maybe 5 hypnotherapies and they're at this point, and I'll just keep adding to that as time goes by. If you're on IntuiTalks, there's also the hypnotherapy site there just for the soundtracks. You can go and have a listen to those sound bites. Some of those will be for IntuiTalks only and everywhere else. So try something new. If you want to try something you've tried before, but try it in a different way, those kind of things. Words. When it comes to, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been writing quite a bit about inner dialogue lately. We've got a certain amount of things real that have become popularized, and as they become popularized, we've got an interesting thing where Lynn's asked me about people who do meditations who aren't qualified. She doesn't like that. And my reality is that nobody's qualified unless they are a qualified hypnotherapist, because there's no thing meditation before they're qualified by an unqualified to start with. Or I teach my students the vibration expansion, the healing practitioners. I teach them how to run and conduct meditations for that. But it's not meditation in itself. But I'm unqualified to teach that. Does that make sense? So there's no actual qualification. Go to hypnotherapy school, and that's not a very cheap thing to do, and it was. But the thing here is that when the right words are spoken, and this is where the self-hypnosis runs a little bit of the right words are spoken, the right part of your psyche, then change is natural. And the word natural is the main for me. Natural because it happens, it gets more intense, the change. Basically, you're not trying to do something, just simply being what it is you're trying to be. It's very simple, very calm. I really like it actually. It's a solution. Energy therapy and hypnotherapy are both very relaxed, very calm. They're very quiet if anybody but me is doing them. Because even with therapy, I don't shut up. You know, I'm going to be telling you everything that's going on with your body all the way up your body. So for those earlier to hear, we're nearly at the show end, but I might call it a little bit early today because I'm just leading on and on about energy therapy for whatever reason. Because I just put my prices up next year. Just put the prices up. I didn't put them up in 10 years. I hadn't put the prices up. And I went along and I had a look at Barbara Brennan's, doesn't run her own show anymore. It's like Louise L. Hay. She doesn't run that show very much. They're doing 2-hour seminars for $360, and I'm like, yeah, nah, okay, my price is way under, but I didn't want to be up there either because I think that's too expensive for a group seminar. Yeah, just put it simply, they're not giving you energy therapy. That's for practitioners, people who want to be sitting and have a listen to somebody else who's a practitioner. It's just a bit mind-boggling. So anyway, back next week on Altered States, Kathleen and I will be reading past. That's next Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. EST. The week on A Psychic Affair, we will be doing tarot spells. I will be using my new toy again, and it worked very well today, so I'm pretty happy with that. And we will be looking at tarot, and be sure that you know that you want to have a reading and let me know and show. So I'm doing this PM thing, so you go to options, click my name, and just put yes please. If you want to spell for a particular something, have a now and then, it's 14 days. Have a think about that because the tarot spell that you'll be looking at could be for finances. It won't be the same spell as the finances. So it's not all the finances get read the same. Sorry, lawn mowing. We've had trees cut down. Does everybody know what a macapa is? A macapa tree is a beautiful tree, and I do New Zealand energy mention is what you might like. When I do them, the macapa is one of these beautiful energies that we invite into our body, along with the kauri and the puriri. We've got such a long history. Well, macapa has a history of, are you ready? 7 million years. What that means is that they have had a continued seed for 7 million years. Well, New Zealand is one of those unique places in the world where, because we haven't had any super dynamic stuff going on, we weren't popular 200 years, 300 or 400 years, we haven't had like a massive wiping out of stuff like Europe has and so on and so on. So at the end of it all, we've got these, what they call a continuous gene that can be traced back. I think the oldest one we've got might be puriri. I have to look it up. Anybody wants to do that, I'll nobody's sort of, I'm only getting 1 or 2 people entering into the classes, so I'm like, yeah. But I'm not going to do it. There's that whole wonderful energy that you invite into your body, and we have these experiences that are specifically New Zealand, specifically Māori, specifically spiritual. Well, macro, I'm watching them cut them down, and they do get quite dangerous when they're really old. It doesn't matter if they're out in public, but this is a campground, so you can't have a tree branch falling on somebody's head, right? And they've been cutting them down. They've cut about 6 down in the last 3 days, so it's been constant noise here. But while my heart's not exactly breaking, it's rather sad at these trees going because they are very old trees. Not each tree is 7 million years. You understand that? It's just the more they cut them down, the more likely we are to get to a point where we have now not got a continual gene, that even if they are propagated somewhere, there's going to be that material in there. You know, nothing's even pure when it comes out of a plant model where they sell these things. They try to make them tougher or whatever, smaller. So they start playing around with them. And we've got this beautiful thing. Well, you should see heaven. It really does. The macro carpet is just divine. And when I had my shop, see photos or go and have a look at photos. I have an arrow shaped, this sort of shape, not bench shelf like crystals, which was made out of macrocarpa. It's highly polished and it's the most beautiful thing. And I used to just walk along and just touch it. It's the most beautiful. In fact, we can start doing that today. On close your eyes if you all can. Just close your eyes, just relax. Take a couple of breaths and breathe down. Breathe down, relaxing down. And I just want you to imagine an lounge carpet, which I'll send out to you all, no matter who you are, no matter where you are. And just relax and we'll send the energy of Master Carpet to you. It's this ancient, beautiful energy trunk where they've cut these 8 feet across. It's not the biggest tree around, but it's a pretty big tree. The branches are the most beautiful. They're not always, but they do drape. Drape is a beautiful word for them. Allow the energy of Master Carpet to flow into your body. It'll flow in first. It'll flow in through your solar plexus. It'll flow in. And then go up, it'll fill your body, it'll fill your feet, and it'll draw you down into the earth. Now, the carpet is the most amazing quality is that, in fact, it allows you to have that. We have our Pahudakawa, which is for solving the karma, is deep thinking. So you allow it to just weave its way through your body, allow your body to give you those thoughts that you might need to experience, right? Your body to be part in line with Earth. Because you're in the northern hemisphere, most of you, feeling and deepening atmosphere, in actual fact, is quite balancing, quite a big deal. When I flew up to the northern hemisphere, when I got out of the plane, the first thing I felt was the energy is sucking you in, and down here, it pushes out at you, it pushes up, which is quite different. And then when I first experienced that, and I went to the US geographical, whatever it is, USGS site, it's a model. It makes sense. Out of the equator up to the northern hemisphere and goes in at the northern points, okay? So at the north pole of the structure. In the south, it does the opposite. It comes down and pushes out of the, pushes out and then goes back up into the middle. Isn't that interesting? So it's quite fascinating. Line of energy is from the top pushing down all the way to the bottom, although that's all not quite the south and north pole anymore. That's what it's doing. So there you go. So that's our show today, Ramin. Thank you very much for putting up with my shoddy sound. Thank you very much for helping me play with my toys. And we will catch you on Astral. No, we're going to say travel next week for Past Lives with Kathleen Moore and me. Ciao for now, and everybody. Remember, don't be a part of your own problem this week.